Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your continued support. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the past few days, we have been treated to some moments of tension when the members of the broad-based government publicly demanded for the arrest of the former deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. This is after Rigathi Gachagua warned the government and the IEBC that if they ever attempt to rig the forthcoming 2027 election, then what happened in 2007 we will look like a Christmas party. And Rigathi was saying that Kenyans are tired. It was a very solemn warning which every Kenyan resonated with. But the members of the Kenya Kwanza team misinterpreted the thoughts and the feelings of Rigathi Gachagua, and they were saying that Rigathi Gachagua was deliberately trying to incite Kenyans to violence. And if you look at the members of the broad-based government led by the majority leader, Kimani Ichungwa, and the minority leader, Junet Mohammed, you talk of Sylvanus Osoro, who is the majority chief whip, and Gladys Boss-Sholei, who's the deputy speaker in the National Assembly. They never hid their frustrations. They were calling upon President Ruto, who is the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces, and Douglas Kanja, who is the IG, to move with speed and arrest Rigathi Gachagua. And this is after Rigathi refused to obey summons.
This is not just a man with a black hat, but a very dark soul. Who the hell do you think you are that you can celebrate the death of Kenyans, calling it a Christmas party? Shame on you.
Now, who's going to protect us from this monster, Mr. Speaker, called Rigathi Gachagua? Who on earth is going to protect us from this monster, Mr. Speaker? Who's going to protect us? Because the government looks like it's unable to take an action against him.
And more so the Inspector General of Police, I know he hails from Madera also. But he must apply the law without fear or favor, Honorable Speaker. I saw in the news last night, Honorable Speaker, them saying that the lawyer has written to NCIC. NCIC did not summon a lawyer. They summoned a person who is not above the law. It's about time Wamunyoro be arrested. The Honorable Gachagua should be behind bars for the statements that he made. Should be a state guest, Honorable Speaker, latest this weekend. That is a state guest. He should be charged. He should be charged for incitement.
Such a person is not a leader. He's a criminal, and we should be discussing how we should have him arrested and charged for those crimes, contrary to the NCIC Act.
And you see, I was talking to one of my friends who is a very good, who is a staunch adherent to the Kenya Kwanza regime, and he was telling me that I should watch this space. He was telling me that Rigathi was going to be apprehended. And I told him it's not going to be very easy. But from the look of things, ladies and gentlemen, President William Ruto has refused to order the arrest of Rigathi Gachagua, because arresting Rigathi Gachagua would not take a meeting between the police officers alone. No. This must be ordered from the highest authority, who is William Samoei Ruto. And William Ruto has not said anything. He has always avoided the discussion around arresting Rigathi Gachagua. In this video, I want us to look at Rigathi's arrest and why William Ruto is not very keen on arresting Rigathi Gachagua. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, there is this boy, a Form 2 student at Thika High School, this young, bright, and needy student, who we are trying to take him back to school on Monday. He's currently stranded at home, and we are requesting that we contribute something. We are doing a 50 bob challenge, but you can give anything that you have so that we can take him back to school. He's really, really pleading with us that we help him aende shule. Watu wako shule sahi, yeye amebaki nyuma. Unajua, just in the next few weeks they're going to begin their end term exam, and before we know it, they're going to come back for midterm. So kindly spare something very little so that we can. Currently we have collected 7,000. The fee is 46,000 Kenya shillings, and we wanted something extra to buy for him do for him some shopping. So I'm really pleading with you. We only have today and Sunday because we really wanted that by Monday tumpeleke shule. Hata kama tuwezi pata the full amount, ile kidogo tutapata ile aende aongee na walimu tunapojaribu because we are also trying to find out if we can connect him to some sources aendelee na masomo. Ladies and gentlemen, William Ruto has refused to order the arrest of Rigathi Gachagua, despite the calls from the hierarchy of the party of the UDA, including the hierarchy of ODM. The broad-based government together had called for Rigathi's arrest. Rigathi has refused to obey the summons from the NCIC. So what could be the reason why President William Ruto does not want to order the arrest of Rigathi Gachagua? Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell once you do this, because that will allow YouTube to notify you whenever I release a video like this. Please don't go without giving this video a like, and if you can share it, I'll really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your support. Ladies and gentlemen, you understand that as we speak, the members of the disciplined forces are divided when it comes to arresting Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi revealed this when there was some news that DCI, the Subarus, zile Subarus walikuwa wametumwa waende wamshike. And there was some tension. That was the day when Rigathi had also announced that he had news that Natembeya was going to be arrested, and they warned that if ever that happened, he would rally his supporters to demonstrate. And Rigathi revealed to us that some members of the police force who had been sent to arrest him are the very ones who, leaked this information, and they aided his assistance to boycott the Ruto trap. So when the police and the military is divided, you cannot risk arresting a former deputy president. He's got some links. So something tells me that because of the division in the police, William Ruto is not really in a hurry to order the arrest of Rigathi Gachagua. It is very obvious that there are people within the police force who do not agree with any idea of arresting Rigathi Gachagua. And this is very obvious. After Raila joined force with Ruto and they are in the broad-based government, Rigathi replaced him. And many people interpret Rigathi's statements to be very true, and they feel Rigathi is the one who is now talking on their behalf. Rigathi ndio mtetezi wao, including those who are in the police force. Because, the members of the police will always act on orders because that is the oath that they took. But deep inside them, some are very tired of the government. Number two, Ruto fears the idea of reprisal and revenge. And I want to take you back. When William Ruto fell out with the former president Uhuru Kenyatta, many people thought that William Ruto was running ahead of his time. He started early campaigns. He was acting in disrespect to Uhuru Kenyatta. He went and, grabbed all the members of parliament from Mount Kenya. Uhuru was left like a shell. And unakumbuka akituambia kuna wakati karibu amslap. Basically, and there was a time, I don't know, it was a slip of the tongue, he said that Uhuru was just a drunkard, that he was the one who was in charge of the government. But Uhuru never attempted to arrest William Ruto. In fact, what he did, the worst that he tried was he charged the then Interior Cabinet Secretary, FREDRICK, and they reduced the security of William Ruto. I think that is the worst that Uhuru did. He never even attempted to impeach William Ruto. Of course, some say that William Ruto alikuwa ameshika wabunge wengi, but you see, these members of parliament can always be bribed. Hakuna mtu hana price tag pale. Wanaweza nunuliwa wote. So Uhuru would have done everything within his reach to impeach Ruto. He did do that. And that was the saving grace. Because after Ruto took over power, they tried to frustrate his mother, reducing the security. And I think William Ruto was only trying to retaliate just the amount of pressure and intimidation that he got from Uhuru. But because Uhuru never attempted to arrest William Ruto. He was safe because after now William Ruto had taken over, he was now controlling the instruments of power. He's now the commander-in-chief of all the armed forces. They never attempted to arrest Uhuru Kenyatta. Ndio kulikuwa na goons walitumwa pale Northland Farm, but he never attempted to arrest Uhuru Kenyatta. Why? Because Uhuru was wise enough. He knew very well, unapochimba shimo na unamchimbia mwenzako, please do it to a level that in case yeye mwenyewe hajaingia hapo ndani na wewe ndio umeingia, utaweza kutoka. That is it. He knew very well that when you are digging a hole for your enemy, do it to a level that in the event that you are the one who falls into that pit, then you'll be able to come out. And I think this is exactly what William Ruto fears. He understands that if he tries to arrest Rigathi now, it might backfire on them in case Rigathi camp takes over. Listen to Oscar Sudi explaining the same, and he says, hawa watu wakichukua, mimi nitafungwa permanent. This is Oscar Sudi.
Na ndio unaona sisi tuko careful. Mimi naambia huyu mnyano tuko careful sana, tushindwe kwa sababu hao watu wakitushinda, kwa sababu mtu kama mimi watanifunga permanent. Watanifunga permanent. Kwa ndio unaona tunakaa macho kabisa, ili zote ziko juu na ukarabati yote iko chini. Kwa sababu hao watu wakipita tu namna hii, mimi kwanza na huyu Arabu Kishara huyu mnyana huyu tutafungwa permanent.
Now the other thing that William Ruto fears is the international attention. I've always reminded you that just recently, the United Nations Human Rights Commission reviewed Kenya's human rights record. And the way abductions are taking place, and BBC came up with that report, we are at the international radar. You know, the media thrives where things are sensational. The moment Ruto tries to arrest Rigathi Gachagua, BBC, Al Jazeera, they will be all over. William Ruto has arrested his former deputy, things like that. And it will be seen because the international media will now be looking at us. It has been reported, and they will be saying William Ruto is guilty as charged. Do you know why? Rigathi simply said that we should not rig these elections, the coming elections. Now, the best that William Ruto can do is to assure the nation. He says, Rigathi has given us a very good advice, but when we want to assure Rigathi that the election is going to be free, fair, and verifiable. The moment he does that, he beats Rigathi Gachagua in his own game. But if he goes ahead and arrest him, then it will be seen that maybe he's got some ulterior motives, hidden plans to rig the elections. And that is what the international community, that is what the international media will report. So with that, William Ruto does not want that attention. Ya kwamba CNN na nini wanatumulika. William Ruto, when Joe Biden was still in power, he was the blue-eyed boy. Anapeleka polisi wetu pale Haiti, alikuwa mikubali LGBTQ through the back door, mambo ya the GMO. He was that, listening too much even to the Bretton Woods institutions, that is the IMF and the World Bank. Alikuwa amejiweka pale ni kama yeye ndio the best president. But now, when the international media starts reporting that he's begun another war with Rigathi, it won't argue well with us, and they will be reminding William Ruto that they killed Gen Zs. So I think he doesn't want. Saa zingine, you don't wake up a sleeping dog, you let them lie. Now, William Ruto fears chaotic scenes. The moment you arrest Rigathi Gachagua, I can assure you, there will be demonstrations, bonfires, even within Nairobi. Because you've realized that Rigathi Gachagua has formed a formidable team. Rigathi, Natembeya, that team, the Kalonzos. I want you to picture Wakamba, Wakikuyu, Waluya ambayo wako especially areas of vitongoji duni. If they decide to go on demonstration, lighting bonfires, I know you may think that Rigathi is an entity. But the problem here will be economy. I remember when Raila Odinga led Azimio demonstrations, na wale ambao wanasupport William Ruto walikuwa na renga tio mzee hajafika CBD. But then they were forgetting that In a day, when there are demonstrations in the country, Kenya loses quite a lot of money. I want you to imagine pale Nyamakima imefungwa for a day. If you've ever been there, ama ufunge Isili, the amount of money that and revenue that Kenya will lose on that day. Hata wale wanachukua pesa, wale wa kanjo, every day. Kenya will lose millions, if not to the tune of billions, revenue. And that will not augur well with William Ruto. And I'm sure, kuna wale mabwenyenye, kuna wale waindi huwa watampigia simu mzee, mahali unaelekea si vizuri. So if you arrest Rigathi Gachagua, mostly, I remember sometimes Raila was telling us, Raila and Atwoli, that if you look at the labor market, wale wapa chini ambao wanafanya kazi in the industrial area, ndio huwa wanaenda demonstration. So you call for that demonstrations, hakuna labor, hakuna wale wanaenda kazi. And there are a lot of idle Kenyans because the unemployment rate has really gone up. So with the demonstrations and chaotic scenes, polisi hapa na pale na watu wanapigana, and then Nairobi comes to a standstill, there is no business going on, we lose a lot of revenue. Just recently you realize that William Ruto now wants to divert the levy in the housing, you remember the housing levy and the money that workers are being deducted, that was originally meant to build houses. Now wanataka watakuwa wanajenga sijui mahospitali, shule hapa na pale, market. That tells you that there is no money in the government coffers. Even the NSSF, we were told, it was revealed that they now want, to force them to start investing on those, maybe building roads. It tells you that there is no money. So if you add on that you take people, you arrest Rigathi Gachagua, and there are demonstrations, William Ruto will continue feeling the pinch and the pain. That is true. Ask any economist in the country, they will tell you that sometimes you see politicians running around and you say, hawajafika CBD, but all the markets are closed. Hakuna pesa inaingia, hakuna biashara inaingia. I remember Rigathi said it. Rigathi was saying that we lose, was he saying 2 billion every day or something? And it was such a huge amount of money. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, against the chagrin of people like Junet Mohammed, Kimani Ichungwa, Gladys Sholei, Sylvanus Osoro, and all the Kenya Kwanza team that were baying for Rigathi's blood, Ruto has remained adamant. He's not in a hurry to order the arrest of Rigathi Gachagua. If he does, he shall have gotten right into the trap of Rigathi Gachagua. By the way, ndio kitu Rigathi anataka, umjaribu kumshika. With that, hata Rigathi atajua kama watu wanampenda, hapo ndio atagauge. Can people come out? As it is, William Ruto has declined completely to order the arrest of Rigathi Gachagua. And I know people like Junet are very unhappy, but that is the situation because it is, William Ruto is the one who consumes intelligence report. And I know NIS must have cautioned William Ruto, wachana na huyo jamaa. That's my take. I don't know what you think. Kindly share with me your thoughts on the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and like our videos. Spare something for Franklin so that we can take him back to school.